First item on the agenda is the approval of the agenda. We all have a copy of that. Is there a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor say aye.
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 Diane, is that you?
Diane and Virginia are both joining us virtually.
And Virginia, welcome ladies. Next item is approval of the minutes from our December 18th meeting. We've received copies of those minutes. Is there a motion that we approve those minutes as presented?
So moved.
Is a motion, is there a second?
Second.
All in favor of approval of the minutes as presented, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Aye. Staff report.
There is no staff report today.
We're happy to have our staff back in the country and back in the town. Kate has chosen wisely to spend her honeymoon in Belize during the last week. So
Missed the snow.
welcome back to Oxford. Next item is administrative approvals. Is there any question of the staff of the case that was approved administratively? If not, we'll move to the public hearings. First case is number 763, requested by Alabeth Jenkins for renovations and additions to existing structure at 916 Old Taylor Road. Kate?
Okay, so the applicant seeks approval for changes to a previously approved certificate of appropriateness, which included extensive side and rear additions. The certificate of appropriateness, which was renewed in 2022 by the former owner of the home, was sold with the house to the applicant as an active COA. As you guys know, COAs run for 12 months. The applicant proposes several changes to the previously approved plans and a new addition that has not been previously considered by the commission. The changes include expansion of previously approved rear additions and to add on a new outdoor living space in the northeast side of the building, slightly set back from the existing front porch, but sitting in front of the main form of the existing house. We included the Historic Resources Inventory Survey for the house, which was previously addressed as 910 Old Taylor Road. It describes the house as circa 1850, rebuilt circa 1873 with Italian influence, and modified circa 1963 with rear additions. A portion of the home that survives from its original form was a house built by Jacob Thompson, who was the Secretary of the Interior under President Buchanan. The house was burned during the Civil War and later rebuilt by Thompson. The Cedar Bend subdivision, which was approved in 2017 and is comprised of lots that are subdivided from this original property. So there's been a couple of homes built there. The final plat was approved with 4 lots, including this 1.9 acre lot on which the Thompson house sits. We included the relevant design guidelines references. A new addition to a historic building is considered successful if it preserves significant historic material and features, preserves the historic character, and protects the historic significance by making a visual distinction between what is old and what is new. We also included the 7 recommendations for additions to historic structures: that they be located on a non-character defining elevation, that they not remove, damage, or obscure character defining architectural features, that they're compatible in material, design, roof form, and proportion to the main structure, that they're representative of the time in which they were built, they do not mimic or recreate the architecture of the primary structure, they're clearly identifiable as additions, and that they complement the main structure but are clearly differentiated. The changes to the rear elevation do appear to meet these recommendations of the design guidelines. The proposed materials are in keeping with the existing materials on site, and the new additions are compatible with the existing roof form, proportionally, etc. They're also not highly visible and are located onto the rear of the building. The main area of concern for staff is the proposed new outdoor living space, which was not a part of the previous COA approval. This proposed area is not located to a non-character defining elevation as recommended by the design guidelines. Such an addition would be more appropriate if it were set further back or even located to the rear of the building behind the existing and new additions. So our recommendation is that the changes to the rear elevation proposed are in keeping with the design guidelines and may be approved, but staff recommends denial of the proposed new outdoor living space, porch, and chimney, and finds that those proposed changes do not meet the recommendations of the design guidelines. So I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have. I know the applicant is here as well as her contractor, if you guys have questions for them.
We're glad to have the applicants here, and if you'd like to add anything to Kate's comments, we would be happy for you to. If you would come to the podium, please,
Thanks.
and identify yourself for the record.
And I also have my architect on the Zoom call, Chad Young.
Okay, did you see him on there?
Yeah.
Yes.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Historic Preservation Commission, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here tonight. I stand before you today with great respect for the history and heritage that each of you tirelessly work to preserve in our beloved Oxford. Tonight, I want to present a vision that I believe that is just not about bricks and mortar, but about rejuvenating a piece of our past to thrive in the present. Before I address any details of the project, I want to thank you for your service on this commission. And to make you aware, both you as a group and I as an individual have really the same objective, and that is to preserve the character and the history of the home located at 916 Old Taylor Road. Our proposed construction project is not merely about change, it is about revitalization. It's about breathing new life into a structure that has witnessed the ebb and flow of time for almost 200 years. My architects and contractor have painstakingly ensured that our plans seamlessly integrate with the architectural character and the surrounding historical structures that are around my home and the additional properties here in Oxford. This property has a silent witness of generations of many, many families crafting their stories and their history. It has seen family celebrations, milestones, and the simple pleasures of everyday life. From holiday gatherings to weekend barbecues, each corner of this home holds a memory to some family that are still local to this city. Each room tells a tale of love, laughter, and togetherness, which I hope to continue with my own family for generations to come. Our commitment to Oxford together in this home goes beyond sentiment. It extends into a practical and emotional investment in its preservation. Any renovations or enhancements we are proposing tonight are rooted in a deep respect for the property's history. And our goal is to ensure that it continues to be a place where family bonds are nurtured and celebrated each and every day as long as we are here. I've lived in Oxford for 16 years now, and during that time I have come to appreciate the history of the area and developed a passion for these older historical homes. Each of these homes and buildings in our great city speak character into the city itself. Also, during those years, I have been involved in many construction projects, primarily new home construction, so this is an exciting project for me and my team. My partner on this project, Chad Russum, who is a native of Oxford, Mississippi, he has an excellent track record for building homes and remodeling homes that are of the same era and has done a wonderful job. And he has also contributed to the growth of the area and the values of the homes and real estate values. It's my team's vision is to enhance the property in a way that preserves its character and at the same time makes it more conducive to my family and our gatherings, which is outside. And there is an existing pool on the property, and where we're proposing this porch would be a direct correlation to the swimming pool. I know that we have said it, as Kate pointed out, that it would change the front elevation, but there is an existing pool to this house that is right next to where we want to put the pool or the porch. Your support is not just an endorsement of the renovation project that has sat empty for many years, but also an affirmation of enduring importance for a family and a place that binds us together, a home. That is what is important to me and my family. This property is not just a property, it's a sanctuary of love, a canvas of memories, past and future, and a stage for the future of our family. I sincerely hope that you can understand and share in our vision for the future of this remarkable space, where the echoes of laughter and the warmth of shared stories and the collective of joys and sorrow resonate within its walls amongst our family and friends. I appreciate your role in the process of gaining approval to the changes being proposed for this home. As you have heard, that the city planning department staff has some concerns about our proposed outdoor living space that was added to the renovation plans that were originally approved by this commission and the city staff before I purchased the property. I commissioned an experienced architect out of Little Rock, Arkansas, Chad Young, who is on Zoom with us tonight, that I have known for many years and trusted his work on this project. I would like for him to speak to you about his interpretation of the design guidelines found on 52 and 56 that were outlined for us to portray to you tonight, and how the proposal for the outdoor living space is involved and how it follows those guidelines. Thank you.
If you would, please, just introduce yourself for the record.
I'm Allie Beth Jenkins. I own the property.
We appreciate your very thoughtful remarks. Is your architect now going to speak?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can. Again, would you introduce yourself for the record?
Certainly. I'm Chad Young.
Well, we're glad to have you with us and welcome your comments.
Well, thank you. Can I take control of the screen and share my screen?
I think so. I don't think so. Let's check.
I don't know that we're set up for that.
I think you can ask for particular illustrations and someone will attempt to show
I
them.
think he's doing it.
I think I've got it here. Can everybody see with the floor plan?
Yes.
Okay, good. Well, good evening, commission members. I appreciate the opportunity to talk to you and talk a little bit about the design intent for this project. I wanted to show you guys, first of all, the design on the floor plan that we were proposing where that outdoor living space goes. We were intentionally pushing the outdoor living space, that porch, back from the front facade, just to be in keeping with the scale and proportion of the front, and just not to compete with the design, knowing that that front facade is an important part of the historic nature of the house. So we intentionally pushed it back, and that's why it doesn't spring from the corner column on that porch, but steps back and goes off of that next column. The other thing that we tried to do in this set was, or in the design, was to create a porch that had a hip roof, so it didn't have a gable like the rest of the house, so it clearly looked as though it was an addition and didn't try to mimic the existing elevations. So that was sort of the design approach that we had. Now, since we got the comments back, I've made a few other idea-generating sketches to see if there's some other alternatives that we could propose that would keep that space there, but maybe change the scale and proportion slightly so that maybe something that's more palatable for the commission or the staff to consider in trying to keep that outdoor living space where it's located. Option one here I'm going to show you is an idea of maybe scaling down we had a hip roof on the end, but maybe scaling down the connecting roof so that it is distinctly a lower connector, and that this almost reads as a gazebo or something to the side of the house. And I'll go through these pretty quickly so we can kind of pause on any questions or comments anybody has. The second option is if the fireplace or the chimney feature is too obtrusive to that front elevation. We have a couple different options where we could put it either on the end, where it's facing the pool to the south, or even consider putting it on the backside, where it's flip-flopped with the outdoor kitchen grilling area. In this scheme, option 4, we kept the gable and then did a smaller connecting roof length so that sort of read as its own structure. In option number 2, I'll show you this one here. This one is putting it on the end. Option 3 is if we couldn't have a fireplace or chimney element at all, could we even lower the proportions on the roof and maybe even changing the materials to do maybe a standing seam middle roof, so that it really appeared to be a more modern element in the design. So I certainly welcome any comments or any interaction or engagement on some design options that might make the outdoor living space more palatable.
Thank you, Mr. Young. All are very attractive options that you're presenting us tonight. And Ms. Jenkins, again, thank you for your comments. We do appreciate your sentiments and appreciation for Oxford and for the house. And this house in particular is certainly a significant house for Oxford. I don't suppose there are many that have the historical pedigree that this house has. And as you say, not only that, it's been occupied for a long time by a lot of different families, and it's great that you are going to continue that tradition with your own family. So we appreciate that. I'll open the floor for any questions that any of the commissioners might have for Ms. Jenkins or Mr. Young, or any comments. Kate, am I correct that while the staff has approved all the additions on the back of the house, was that approved in the earlier COA?
Right, so where you're seeing on the rear of the house, new addition, new porch, new addition, new garage, there were additions approved there at with the previous COA, and all they're proposing here is a slight change to like her closet area. It's gonna bump out a little bit further at the rear. And so that was not to us a significant change, and it does meet the guidelines, the way they're proposing it.
So
the only
the staff is recommending approval of that
Yes.
modest change to an existing COA that's
And
still.
she's under construction, so yeah, we wanted to get that approved.
So our consideration is for the outdoor living space, which includes the fireplace and so forth. So that is our material for conversation.
Kate, can you explain what, in your mind, is the difference between this and, say, a bedroom or garage that was added onto the side that you might be more inclined to approve? So what are the elements of this other than the obvious, I guess, the fireplace on front and the openness of it? I'm just trying to.
I don't think based on the guidelines, I would have recommended approval of a bedroom in that location.
Of anything?
Yeah, if it were, yeah. I think if they're gonna continue adding on, the rear would be the most appropriate. And I understand the issue with the pool, but that's just based on the guidelines that recommend a non-primary elevation, and to me, this is primary.
Yeah.
But the commission may not agree, but that's how we've interpreted it.
Well, there's more consideration perhaps than normal with the
Significance of the house.
significance of the house, correct?
Yeah, and I mean, I agree that perhaps relocating the chimney could really soften it if the commission is open to
I'm definitely up to that,
an addition here. Yeah.
like toward the back.
You know, I think one thing that whether it would be a bedroom or any kind of closed-in space is just the the size of the addition as it relates to the existing house. It's you know, I don't have a yardstick, but it's about a third of the size of the house added to the front of the house. I mean, it's significant in size. I would ask Ms. Jenkins, I suppose, because one of the primary goals that this commission has is to protect the primarily the front facade of a historic house, so that when someone looks at a house that has been remodeled or changed, you still recognize the house as the primary thing you're looking at. Did you give consideration to adding this outdoor space in the back, in the rear of the house, so it would not be so prominently visible from the front?
There was actually there's the bedroom, the master bedroom is on the opposite side of this living space, and the way that the house is, the original structure, there's already double doors that would make it conducive to go outside on that, in that particular area of the house. And as Chad Young said, it is set back about 7 feet from the squaring off of the house, and so therefore there is a space in between the second column into the bedroom area of the house that would be great for the outdoor living space by the pool that was existing.
Yeah.
And so on the other side of the pool, there's a lot of power lines and overgrowth of trees and things of that nature. And so for what this space is supposed to encompass was the best place in the house, which we are very willing to move a fireplace to either the side or to the back wall that's facing, or that would butt up to the master bedroom. There's actually going to be a fireplace that's on the inside of the home, right on that wall, so it makes it fairly easy to add it there. That space in that area is very conducive, and it just, in the overall space of the pool, makes it really easy for entertainment and to watching your kids play in the pool and stuff of that nature. If you flipped it to the other side, you wouldn't really have a full view of the swimming pool, which also some adults want to be in the shade while their kids are swimming, or want to watch television or cook on the grill while they're doing that. This space gives you a full panoramic
You know,
view.
one of the realities of a house that is situated this far back from the street,
Right.
is that you really can't discern the 7 feet that
Right.
it sits back. It
Right.
still reads as, you know,
Right.
all the way across the front. Kate, would there have been any other thinking from the staff if this whole thing were not attached at all to the house, but was you know, if they're taking advantage of the pool, if it were just another structure?
Yeah, that would certainly be something to consider.
There is a wraparound porch on that side too that would have been connecting, that's original.
Yeah, well, I think what I personally am dealing with is that it's just an extension of this house
Yes,
that I have difficulty with, and I'm just curious if there are other options that might satisfy your goal of having an entertainment space that is contiguous to the pool without it detracting from the house
Yes, sir.
itself.
It's one of those situations I wish you could take a field trip and see how the pool is positioned on the property of.
Yeah, no, I've
the
been
house.
there. I've seen it.
Awesome.
I've taken the field trip. Any other comments or opinions of their proposed addition?
If we're trying to decide which one looks better, I like the original version that were in the plans as presented, but I guess the issue is it appropriate to have a new addition in the front of the house? So either accept a new addition in front of the house or you don't.
Yeah. As every case we see, I think we want to accommodate the people bringing the proposal by making suggestions or asking questions, but yeah, our ultimate decision will be a thumbs up or a thumbs down, or if there are modifications that commissioners would like to suggest that would make them more likely to approve, now's the time for that.
I would like to see a rendering of this space with no attachment in the roof line.
So a detached, just a detached outdoor living.
Detached.
On the same, in the same area. Okay.
And the fire, my preference, well, and according to the guidelines, is that I think the fireplace on the back side and the not less intrusive position would also be a good idea.
I could be comfortable with an outside living space that was detached completely from the house, but I think I would want to probably have an opinion from staff and your architect about the distance that might be away from the house, how far. For me, I don't think it's just losing the hyphen, the breezeway sort of area. Because again, the goal is to protect the view of that house, and when you look at it, to see the and recognize the history of it and the architectural elements that have made it what it is. For me, the addition attached to the house takes away from all that.
Yeah, if I might add, if we did detach the outdoor living from the house, the only place that we could go, because the pool is immediately to the left of this plan, is we'd have to go diagonal towards the front facade and towards the pool. So it would become an even stronger element, and I'm gonna sketch here in red over this drawing. If just say it was this option here, it's gonna be bigger and it's gonna be closer to the front facade than it is currently, because we're going to shift it. So where it is positioned now, I mean, the case for that is that it is pushed back and is, back from the existing, front entrance or front facade. I just worry about it. If it is a freestanding element, it's going to be a lot closer to being highly visible.
Well, I really like the idea of an architect who does drawings, on site, so thanks for that.
He's really handy.
But your argument makes me less likely to, want to go with anything.
Jack, if I may, present some administrative options here.
Please.
For the commission to consider. I think, you're having a conversation about the appropriateness of this addition. It doesn't seem to me that we're having a conversation about the addition to the rear portion of the property for the closet. I saw a lot of head nodding that everybody seemed to be somewhat okay with that. And so, and I think Chad has, provided us with some alternatives tonight that haven't been previously considered by the commission, and he may come up with other alternatives based on the conversation that's heard tonight. So some things to consider would be approving the other elements of the COA application, which I believe that they're in the process of construction right now, and so that portion would be able to move forward. So that's something for you to consider. Of course, you could approve or deny the application that's been presented before you. You could also table this element to allow for additional consideration, allow Chad and Ally Beth and Chad Russ some opportunity to take to heart y'all's comments and what you've heard, and evaluate other options that could be provided to staff, and we could present those to y'all next month. So just some options for you to consider administratively.
Thanks. Yeah, all good suggestions. Perhaps the simplest and most straightforward step we could take right at this moment is to address that part of the COA that deals with the additions to the rear of the house. And as we've heard a couple of times, they are, as were presented with the most recent COA, with the exception of some minor addition for closet space.
The garage is a little bit larger, but that doesn't really seem to be problematic from the planning standpoint.
Yeah, and then there was a small change to the rear where the master.
Right, there was a complete back porch on the rear of the house, and the original owners of this house that I purchased it from, it was going to be a weekend home for them, and it's going to be my primary residence. And so the closet was a tad small for my liking, and the laundry room was not exactly where I would prefer it to be. So I took some space from the approved back porch to create a larger closet for myself and a laundry room on the rear of the house.
Looking at the rear of the house, you do have a side porch off of your master bedroom, right? That connects to the add-on? Okay.
Yes,
I was
and
just making sure.
that was actually, there was a side porch. It's just really a door with an overhang to get out of the master bedroom.
And that attaches to your outdoor?
Yes.
Okay.
Which there was also one there in the original structure.
And you don't have room
For that
to,
reason, fire safety and to let dogs and stuff out.
and you don't have room to move that back toward your master bedroom?
I'm sorry?
Like where your side porch is already bumped out, you don't have room to move things back because of the pool?
Correct, it's a kidney shape, and so the pool is very close to the structure.
Okay.
So it's not straight on to this area, it's kind of at an angle. So where the proposed porch is, and that is why there is a jet out for a table space there, is because of the way that the kidney of the pool is. It allows for a little more space for a table and entertainment space right there by the pool.
Is the commission okay with focusing on these proposed changes to the rear of the house, and then we'll come back and decide what we might want to do with the side addition?
Yes.
Are there any other questions or comments about the rear additions that we've heard? If not, is there a motion that we approve that portion of the COA?
So moved.
There's a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor of approval of the rear additions to the house as presented in this COA signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Aye. Aye.
That portion of the COA is approved. Now we'll come back to the outdoor living space. I had another thought, an option that could be considered if that's where this conversation goes, and that would be the consideration of having the outdoor space without a roof. It's the roof structure, it's the structural visual part that troubles me, and outdoor entertaining is also possible without a roof. You
Could
don't
it be
have
a
to- you don't have to
flat
resp-
roof?
You don't have to respond to that, but
I'm asking,
just-
I asked, would you be more inclined, the front porch is a flat roof and it has a membrane on it currently. As Chad just took the roof structure off like as a hip roof, could we do some type of flat roofs on the porch?
It's not so much the shape of the roof. The flat roof, you know, it looks kind of like a carport.
Right.
Either way.
Right. More so of the roof as its importance is to be able to have dinner and or lunch, whether it's in the summer or the winter, having entertainment space for television to watch football or watch children play in the summer in protection from the sun, and also your grill space of not being out in the elements all year round.
Okay. I really would feel better if I got some indication from the commissioners about your thinking on this, because we're really at a point where we can vote this as presented, up or down,
Right.
or you can table it, you can ask us to table it,
Okay.
and come back with other options that would reflect comments you've heard from commissioners.
I've got a question. So if, instead of putting the whole new porch roof on there, you had a small walkway with a small roof over it coming out of those double doors out to kind of wrap back around the master where your porch is off the master, and then your outdoor space be behind the master, in essence, on the other side of the pool.
On the back side of
On the back side.
I've got the one piece of the plan that is showing everything. It's not on the blueprint, but it's on the it's all hexed out, and it shows the actual kidney shape of the pool there. That's the only thing I can kind of determine. But if you did that, would that be still against the guidelines coming out to the side there? Because that's a good bit farther back from the front of the house.
Yeah, we'd obviously have to see it, but I think there's a way to make that work, certainly. If that's something that.
I just don't know what else is back there off that back corner of the master that would stop you from doing it.
One second. Chad.
That's what I'm looking at right there, so.
Elevation. I think that the only reason that couldn't not be possible as an option would be the elevation because of the drop down to the other lot behind you. Build up.
Okay, that's what I was asking there.
It's a pretty steep hill on the other side down to the other property.
I just didn't know if the design guidelines being that much farther back from the front.
That would certainly help with this issue. I'm not sure what kind of topographical issue you're gonna run into.
And that way she might be able to do a roof back there.
Sure.
Just, it would almost even turn the roof the other way around from
Right.
seeing it from the front of the house.
And, you know, following that thought, some sort of landscaping feature in front of the pool would block it even more from the street.
Right. I'm not sure you as the board have seen, there's actually a house right in front of this space from the road. I don't know if that makes any difference, but I keep hearing tonight the visualization of the house from the street. Does this porch will not obscure from the visualization of the front of the house from the road, because actually there's a home right in front of this area of the house. So ever how you look at it, this area of the house is actually, would be considered in our family the backyard, because of the way that the house sits on the corner of that lot.
And just to respond to that, of course, we see the house from Old Taylor Road.
Right.
And so that's that. While we're giving consideration, is there anyone in the audience tonight, neighbor perhaps, that would like to make a comment about this case? We always want to give neighbors an opportunity to speak if they choose. So we are at a point of again, voting on this particular area. I don't, you know, we don't talk before meetings, so we have no idea what any one of us might think about this proposal. Would you like us to bring it to a vote, or would you like us to table it?
I've never been through this before, so I do ask if you vote now and you turn down the original idea or one of the proposed other options that we give. If you vote now, will you also vote on one of the other options that we gave? And if you deny all of those four, how long do we have to wait to come back?
I'll ask Kate and Ben to answer that question.
You could come back next month with a different plan if you're denied, as long as it's different.
Okay. At any aspect of the plan?
Yeah.
Because we actually submitted one in giving 4 options, so that's what I'm asking. So we gave.
So you didn't submit those weren't submitted, you just presented them to me.
Right.
So you can come back with one of those options next month.
That's
You
what
could
I'm
table the request and you could provide those to us and we could submit that and that could be considered next month, allowing an opportunity for full consideration of that. I think as part of that, we would also probably need to have the site plan that would show the layout and the exact locations of those different options.
Right. There is a site plan on the plans that I know that Chad could pull up right now for the options, the original option.
The original option. Yeah, we have that.
Yes.
And I think the commission has that, but I think for the alternative options, that's.
I would like to see where today's goes with either the original option or one of the options that we've provided, and see where, and would like feedback to where if there is a chance that any of these are denied, to see how we can better this all together, because we all live here and all know the value of a porch, and we all like to sit and enjoy afternoons in Oxford.
So
Ben,
I'm sorry.
Ben, this is Diane. I'm wondering if we vote on what we feel like has already been approved or will be approved, if we couldn't table the remainder and almost treat it like a complimentary review, and therefore Mr. Jenkins could get a better idea of what we're thinking and come up with another plan. It would delay her, I know, but I think what she needs is more information maybe on how we feel about each plan. To me, that sounds like a complimentary review.
Yes, Diane, I think that that's correct. I mean, that's certainly something that could be done by the commission. I think that's one of the options that I was laying out earlier, where you would just table this and then take that. If the commission is not so inclined to support this application, and I think there have been some comments to that effect tonight, then you may choose to table this request, take that back, and then submit. And I think that there could be alternatives. Additional feedback that's provided. And we've already heard that the location of the fireplace might be problematic. The roof line seems to be problematic. So, you know, Chad may be taking these notes and might be able to come up with an alternative that is not maybe option number 5, and that's presented to the commission at next month's meeting, which is what Diane is suggesting.
Or you could have them vote.
I still think I would like you to vote.
Yeah,
To go ahead and vote
Okay,
on just
yeah,
this particular, it is my understanding that the rear elevation is going to be approved.
It is approved.
Yeah, so I would, and then we would see some feedback from the porch if it was denied.
That's good. We are happy to give you that. The Diane's suggestion, the one reason to ask for it to be tabled and ask us to consider it as we do many proposals in a complementary way is that it seems that in that situation, commissioners are much more comfortable saying, if you did this and if you did that,
Right.
I could support it. I don't know that we have that kind of dialogue when we're just voting yes or no.
And so this complimentary review would come back to us prior to?
Well, no. The complimentary review is a procedure that this commission exercises at the request of an applicant. But in this situation, we're just saying we would be happy to treat
Okay, and how
this
long?
as a complimentary review and be candid in our comments about what we'd like to see.
So you're saying approve the stuff on the back and then come back with the new plan that we would do under complimentary review for the side porch pool area. No.
Okay.
So it's two different things. Then you could.
But I'm saying if the commission is willing to do this, that tonight we could consider this new front porch in a complimentary way. If she chooses to table it tonight,
Okay, yes.
then we could candidly say, some perhaps will say I like it just like it is, and I'm going to vote for it. But others might say, I'm not for this reason, or if you would change this. So this is a hybrid sort of response, I think, to what we normally do. And I should ask, does any commissioner have a problem with us doing that?
No.
Jack, the only other thing that we're looking for right now is, I know on the land development code side, there's a provision in there that says if an application is denied, then a substantially similar application may not be represented to the commission for 6 months.
I thought it was more than next month.
And so I'm trying to find that provision in the HPC ordinance. It may be in the design guidelines, and so Kate's looking through that. I'm looking through the ordinance right now.
My memory is that coming back a month later, I don't remember us doing that with denied COAs.
Yeah, it's in the design guidelines.
Actually, Ben, didn't we have this issue several years ago over like Buchanan or Johnson or one of those? And I think you're correct in a 6-month period. So it might be beneficial if the owner would table this and then come back in a complimentary review rather than face the possibility of it being denied and then the wait would be longer.
And that is what my team is telling me to do. That is what my team is also suggesting that us do table it with a complimentary review, so then therefore we can come back next month with ideas.
I think that's the best.
Yeah, and I think that's the wise thing for everybody concerned, because
Yeah.
it gives you a little more information on what the commissioners are thinking, and it gives the commissioners a little more information on what you're proposing, and it's a win-win for everybody.
Well, if I understand where you are right now, you are asking to table this portion of your COA
The outdoor living space, yes.
with the understanding that the rear addition has been approved
Yes,
at
sir.
this meeting. So the applicant has asked us to table this portion of the COA, and we have agreed that we will take a moment now to talk to her as if this were a complimentary COA.
We're not gonna get one later.
I'm welcome your,
That would be very atypical to do it right now.
it would be completely, to my knowledge, we've not done that.
Something new.
Well, do I sense a consensus that we would prefer a complimentary moment at our next meeting as opposed to now? I see heads nodding. I hope you're still good with the table.
Can I ask a quick question?
Yes.
I don't think that we've gotten a good sense of if commissioners are open or not to an addition in that location.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
I don't think we've gotten a good sense on if any of the commissioners are against or for having an addition at all in that location. I think that would help, because why come back if that location is not tenable? So maybe.
All right, well, we're past it being an official request, so this really is an informal.
But if you'd like to fully do a
She's
complimentary
tabled
review.
this
Well,
portion.
she's requested, but there hasn't been a motion and a
Yeah.
second and a vote to table that item yet. So I think you're still in the discussion phase of this request for the COA.
You're correct. And so I'd like to hear from commissioners about what your preference would be.
I'd vote against where it is right now, in the present position.
I agree with Joel, and the exception could be depending on what the house looks like from the road with the other houses on the lot. If you really can't see the addition, or if it's, when you're looking at it, it's just obscured enough that maybe that would make a difference. Maybe it doesn't, but that would be something that I would consider.
So maybe if the applicant were able to illustrate that somehow.
Others, if we were to vote now,
I definitely think that the fireplace should be changed if you were changing that, but then also obscurity, just not be able to see it from the front of the house. It just changes the look of the front of the house.
And scale, that would be the only thing I would, add to that list of things is, in order for it to be obscure, it probably needs to be scaled a little bit, small.
I'm about the same opinion as this. Scale is something, the fireplace, I think if it is moved, it's not gonna be as obtrusive on the front, but if there's screening in the front and it's not seen from the driving by road, I think it could work.
Virginia and Diane.
Well, I've had a little difficulty following everything.
It's hard to follow
But-
if you were here.
Yeah, it really is. So, I feel like anything that affects the front of the house, being on the Old Taylor Road side, I would not specifically be in favor of. What I am in favor of is gaining a little more knowledge on some different ideas that they might want to bring before us for the outdoor space, which seems to be very important to the applicant. And I think she's got an architect that is willing to work with our guidelines and what we would go with. And so those are my opinions, and I am aware that I have not been able to absorb because of not being able to hear everything. But what I have heard, those are my opinions.
Thank you. Virginia, do you want to add anything?
I think a really somewhat detailed site plan would help this and give us, a better idea of what we're actually looking at and what we're going to see from the street. And I think that's what everybody seems to be concerned about is, what we're going to see from the street and how, this addition is perceived as people drive by.
Thank you. And I think I've expressed my opinion. Scale is important to me. It seems very large compared to the house. Fireplace on the front is a little obvious, I think. I personally like the idea of it being detached. I think you've heard some good suggestions of options to move it to another location where you still have the outside space, but it would not be an extension of the house. And I'm assuming that even though Chad has shown us several options tonight, I don't, for me, none of those really changed my concerns about the space.
Jack, may I ask a question? Am I correct in assuming that there were no neighbors present or no neighbors that had an issue with this?
I've given the room and any neighbors that might be in the room an opportunity to speak, and no one has spoken.
And staff hasn't received any feedback.
Pardon?
Staff has not received any feedback.
And
either.
staff, Diane, has not received any feedback from neighbors either.
Mr. Chairman, if I could interject.
I'm sorry, go ahead, Chad.
Yeah, since I've got the attention of the commission and staff members and Ally Beth on here too, Ally Beth, I'd like for maybe you to give me response or comments back first. Could we consider putting it, wrapping around the master to come back to this backside here and setting it just to this side of the pool instead of towards the front, so it still connects back to those glass doors, but it wraps around and comes back, and then the larger portion of it be back here in the more backyard.
I think that was once we first started this project, was we thought maybe that there would be some hesitation on letting us have that porch on that side. And my thoughts were, let's flip it to the exact structure opposite on the other side of the house.
Are you saying the same thing that
I'm saying he is correct. When Chad and I had first talked about this, I was like, we may get kickback from the commission if it's on the front. I would be okay with having it on the back. It would just be a different proportion around.
This suggestion certainly seems to address the concerns, some of the concerns that we've heard, so I would think that it would be a good option to bring back for consideration. And I would also suggest, and I know you've done this already, just an ongoing dialogue with the staff as you're doing this over the next month.
Okay, sounds good.
So we'll need a motion if it's to be tabled.
Is there a motion that we table this portion of the COA?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
The motion passes. Thank you very much. Next public hearing is for case 764, COA requested by Shady Creek Properties, Laura Jones, for new construction at 427 North 16th Street. This is a case that we, I believe, did a complimentary review of last month.
That's right. So,
Hey, this is Virginia. I have to recuse myself from these next two cases. I'll be back for the last one.
Okay, sounds good, thank you.
Thank you.
okay, so 427 North 16th Street is a vacant lot that's directly across from St. Peter's Cemetery. This is the second time the commission has seen this proposal for a condominium development on the vacant lot. At the complimentary review in December, the commission expressed concern regarding the 3 stair-stepped windows, the front elevation facing North 16th on Building 3. Since that review, the architect has modified the plans that put the 3 windows in line, as well as added bricked-in windows with fixed shutters on the first floor for symmetry. And that was something else that was addressed, and the commission seemed fine with that. No other changes were made to the plans. Staff finds the style of the new development appropriate for the district and recommends approval of the COA. And we just saw Bruce Crane online. Do you want to show that slide?
Yeah, the new elevation. Yeah. The internet
Just that-
is not like it.
It's a building 3.
Building 3. What building? Here we go.
Yeah, that is building 3. And you guys were correct. It is a much better looking elevation from the street now without the stair steps. I appreciate y'all giving me the honest feedback.
Thank you. We appreciate your responsiveness to comments that were made at last month's meeting, and they seem to be reflected in your new proposal. Are there questions or comments from any commissioner about this COA?
Basically, that was our bone of contention right there, and that's solved.
Yeah.
Right?
Is there a motion that we approve this COA as presented?
So moved.
Is there a second? Second. Let me take advantage of the comment moment here to ask if there are any people in the audience that would like to make any comment about this proposal. If not, all in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Any opposed? Thank you. Case 764 passes.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
All right. Have a good evening. Bye.
Next case is public hearing for case 756, COA requested by Haworth and Associates Architects for exterior renovations for property located at 403 North Lamar Boulevard. And Jonathan Maddox is with us, but Laura, will you present?
So 403 North Lamar Boulevard is a long-term home of Oxford Insurance. It's across from the Graduate Hotel. This is also the second time that the commission has seen plans for this proposed property. It had a complimentary review in December as well. So the staff's 2 points concerning the plans presented were the installation of the front balcony and painting of the brick veneer. The balcony obviously would change the front elevation, and that's something that's typically not done in historic districts. The applicant intends to work within the boundaries of the existing portico to add that balcony and to install the porch, and will maintain the original Doric columns that are there. The commission has frequently approved painting brick veneer on new construction. Staff finds painting brick in this instance appropriate due to the lack of moisture concerns that you would have for old brick. No changes have been made in the plan since the complimentary review. Staff recommends approval of the COA as proposed due to the building's age. If the commission finds, if the commission approves of the addition of the balcony, then staff recommends approval of the COA as proposed. And like you said, Jonathan Maddox is here as well. Okay.
Thank you. This is another COA that we reviewed at our last meeting with a complimentary review. Jonathan, welcome back. Are there questions for Jonathan or comments about the proposal as we are reviewing it? Jonathan, do you have any comments you want to make?
No, I think Angie covered everything, and we all had the opportunity to talk about this last time. The only thing that wasn't mentioned today, and just, I guess, pointing out for the record, there is an addition of a second floor on that rear entry element, but that's not different from our previous conversation.
Is there a motion that we approve this COA as presented? Second. Are there any questions or comments from the audience about this COA? Any comments, questions from commissioners? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The COA passes. Thank you. Next item is public hearing for case 766, COA requested by Henry Sherman to install fencing and outdoor fireplace for property located at 1010 Washington Avenue, and it appears that Commissioner Little is recusing himself.
Virginia Lukenbach is
or leaving the meeting. What?
And Virginia is now joining us for this.
And Virginia is not joining.
I'm back. Yeah, I'm back.
Oh, good.
First of all, apologies that it's sideways on the website. I did not clearly notice that before I left for Belize. My bad. This case concerns 1010 Washington Avenue. The applicant seeks retroactive approval for a new brick wall, fireplace, and platform that were installed at the property in December and January without certificate of appropriateness approval. The new items were also installed without permits. 1010 Washington Avenue is a corner lot, and the new additions front North 11th Street. The primary facade or entry to the house faces Washington, so what we're seeing is the side of the house, which does front North 11th Street. The use of brick fencing and walls is present but not prevalent in Oxford's historic districts inside and rear yards. The wall, as it directly fronts the street, is more visible than most of those that have been previously approved by the commission. Painted masonry is a request that often comes before the commission. Though brick is frequently approved an appropriate material for the district, design guidelines recommend against painting brick. We just went through this with the last case, but the commission has allowed painting new brick construction in several recent cases, both for fencing and for new additions. Staff is recommending approval of the COA here. The wall was not added to an existing contributing resource. The house was built in circa 1995. And while it's visible, it does not obscure or detract from any historic materials or view sheds. It sits between the neighboring house and the property in question. So I believe the applicant is here, as well as Jay Hughes on his behalf, if anyone has questions for the applicant.
So obviously the work is already
It's completed. Yeah.
So
Although they are planning to paint it white, I believe.
So the only he needs our
Some after the fact COA.
Yeah.
He needs our approval after the fact, but the new element in the conversation is painting the brick.
No, I mean the element in question here is the approval in general. Yeah, although you're right, they haven't painted it yet, but they need the approval to be in compliance, you know. and to get their permits retroactively as well.
Right. Any comments, questions of the applicant or the staff on this proposal?
Jack, I assume there's no one complaining about this, correct?
The staff has had no complaints. I will ask the audience if there's anyone here that would like to make a comment about this proposal. And we do have one, Mr. Cruz.
Billy Cruz.
Could you go to the podium?
Yes, if you would come to the podium and introduce yourself, please.
Billy Cruz, live at 518 North 11th, and there are 5 other neighbors here, probably more articulate than me, but I think we're all here because what the Shermans have done since they've moved into the entire house has been a great asset to North 11th Street and I assume Washington as well. And so I'm not aware of any complaints. I am aware of a lot of compliments for the total house renovation and this addition, among others. So I think there may be others that want to speak to that, but I think that's the consensus of the neighbors that are here.
Thank you, Billy. It's always important for us to know the thinking of the neighbors. We appreciate you being here. And it's a great house. Any other comments, questions? If not, is there a motion that we approve case 766?
So moved.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? The motion carries. Thank you and congratulations. Is there any other business to come before our meeting tonight? If not, is there a motion that we adjourn?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.